And Latrelle Joy has arrived. Good morning, Latrelle.
Good morning.
We're glad to see you. You're gonna impart some information on us, I believe, about what happened yesterday in our city council meeting. How are you doing, by the way?
I'm good, other than I have a broken bone. But
That's
not good.
Are you hobbling around?
No, I'm.
Oh, in your arm.
Yeah.
Your sling matches your outfit, so
That's on
well
purpose.
hidden. So, did you take a spill? Or
I did. I took a spill.
Well, I'm hobbling around on a bad knee that I'm going to have replaced here in March next month. So, I can feel your pain. Believe me. So, other than a gimped wing, how are things going with you?
They're good. They're good. Everything's busy, and everybody's working on different issues.
Yeah, let's get you a little closer to that
Okay,
microphone.
there you go.
You have to talk right into it.
All right.
So this is how many years have you been on the council now?
I'm starting my fifth.
Your fifth year. So how's this year shaping up compared to the others?
It's very good. One we have, and I've told Jared Atkinson I'm going to stop calling him the new city manager. He's been here 2 months.
Yeah.
He's not new anymore. So it's been really good. He's brought a lot of energy, a lot of expertise into that position.
And I've heard great things about him. I heard he's been doing a great job. I don't know, he hadn't been there very long, but...
Well, in 2 months, I'd say he's done a lot. Of course, he's dealing with the current year's budget, and in addition, working on next year's budget all at the same time. So, pretty busy.
So, the city council has been very busy this week. Y'all went to Austin?
We did. We went to Austin. Lubbock Day. But more importantly, we went down there to visit with those people who can help us or hurt us the most.
And how did that go? How did the conversation go? And
it went very well. We were able to meet with Senator Perry, Representatives Frullo and Burroughs numerous times. Mm-hmm. So we got their ear, I think, pretty well. In addition, we were able to visit with some of the senators and representatives from Amarillo and some of the Panhandle areas. In addition to that, we also took a little side tour and toured some of the Austin Police Department facilities, since we're looking at that for our Lubbock PD.
That's neat.
So the plan is for the city to move to the new
Citizens Tower.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And the police then to move into the current location of
That
the city
was
council.
the original plan, and as of today, that hasn't changed at this point.
So you feel real comfortable about that? You think that's going to be a good move?
Well, I think it depends on where we go with community policing, which I really believe in. I think the community policing will help us in a lot of areas that we haven't been able to do, and that changes a little bit of your focus, because if you're going to
can you briefly tell us about community policing?
That just means that we would have some substations in different parts of the city.
Quicker response time.
Like a whole bunch of small stations instead of one big, large station.
Well, and what you want to do is you want the same officers, to work an area and get to know the people who live there.
Mm-hmm. Precincts.
Yeah, I mean, in years past, they called them precincts, they've called them substations. But we, as long as I can remember, have focused out of one central location, which is okay. I mean, it works. But I just think we have a new focus. We need to get to our kids. We need to be out there where they can talk to people, change the image a little bit. Because when you think about it, and you go down to the police station, you're kind of like, ugh, this is where the police are. This is where everything happens. If you have a relationship with an officer or with officers, it's a different feel. And so, in answer to your question, right now the plan is originally what the original plan was. What effect the substations might have on that, at this point, I don't know. The Chief of Police, Greg Stevens, is going to bring us some information on substations where cost, those kinds of things, so we can look at those in connection with the other.
What strikes me is Lubbock has grown to the point where it seems, and I may be totally wrong, but it seems like this substation type of program works for cities that are larger and more spread out.
Yeah, and
Isn't
Lubbock
that
is
really the purpose? And it seems like that Lubbock is, we are getting to be a very large city now.
we're a large city, and we are very fortunate that we have a lot of land
Right.
to spread out in. A lot of the metropolitan cities are a little bit jealous of us because they are contained. They're surrounded on all four sides by somebody or some city.
We could go all the way to New Mexico.
That's right. Yeah, we might be a little problem there, but anyway,
pretty big city.
Yeah, but particularly I think for Lubbock at the stage that we're in, it's a good time to do that. We've looked at putting substations in connection with perhaps a fire station. So I think there are just a lot of good ideas out there when it comes to community policing.
Okay. One thing that we get a lot of people that are wondering about, and I'm sure you get a lot of talk about, is the sound ordinance that's been brought up a couple of times. I know it was tabled last night, but does that look like it's going to move forward at a later date, or is it just completely tabled at this point?
I don't know that it's completely tabled. I just think that Ms. Patterson-Harris is wanting to look at it a little more closely. It's one of those situations where it's a problem in some places and not in others, and one size fits all may not work. Mm-hmm. And I think that's been some of the issue.
Well, we've talked about it at length on this show, and of course, and I have my own. And this is a show about our opinions a lot of time. And my opinion is, and I stated here, I think City Council needs to stay away from the noise ordinance. There are so many problems, because I remember back when this has been proposed before, there's so many problems inherent with this. Who checks the noise? You have the police. Where do they stand to check the noise? What if the noise is not being made when they get there after call? There is just so many problems associated with that it's I just think it's going to be hard to enforce.
I think you're probably correct.
Well, Latrelle, let's take a break here. It's 7:18 on KFYO Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin, and we'll return with more from Latrelle Joy, our Mayor Pro Tem. And we're back, and it is News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. 724 as you are rising and shining this morning, 34 degrees, heading for a high of 60. And glad to be talking this morning with Mayor Pro Tem Latrelle Joy. And she's filling us in on everything that's been going on at the city. And Latrelle, we were talking during the break about in all my years, I've never seen the growth like I am seeing in Lubbock right now. You're telling me it's being reported as like 2% growth? Well, that's rather normal, isn't it?
I don't think it was normal for us, obviously, because we've grown gradually. But when you start putting 2% on top of 200,000 people, that's a whole lot different than 100,000 people.
That's just more people.
Yeah, it's more people.
Well, we're just seeing, or at least I am seeing, a tremendous amount of growth. Hotels, apartments, residences, strip centers, restaurants, my word. It seems like that bodes well for our city, but then with all that much growth and particularly coming at us that fast, it creates problems, doesn't it?
It does, and that's one of our issues is we are trying to keep ahead of growth with infrastructure, because when we don't, then we have problems. One of the cases that was on the agenda last night that had a lot of discussion dealt with 114th Street, where there was an apartment complex that is being suggested out there. But the problem with 114th Street, it's about 3 lanes wide, and the speed limit's 50 miles an hour. And you've got lots of people out there. You've got Orchard Park. You've got Walmart. And so that's a place where we really need more roads. We need 5 lane, 7 lane, and
Right.
we don't have it. But we've got a large population out there. You've got schools out there, and so that's one of our big challenges is staying ahead of the growth.
And from that aspect, it's also, you were talking kind of during the break, keeping up the infrastructure that we already have in place, as we move outwards, keeping that's inside up to date and looking nice and usable.
That's correct. And I mentioned to you that Maury Stanley has talked for a number of years about the donut hole. And what that means is that central part of Lubbock, let's say between 19th and 50th, we've got to be careful because 34th Street we did get done, which is great. But if you've been down 50th lately, you realize that too needs attention. And so we don't want to forget about any of the parts of the city, whether it be the central part, the north, the east, whatever part it is, we want to be sure that they're all taken care of.
Well, quickly, the water's kind of a boring subject, but it is very important if you live in West Texas. Can you bring us up to speed on some of the details about the 2018 Strategic Water Supply Plan? And could there be some drastic changes to the city using the water from Cremwa and or the wells out in Roberts County?
Well, we right now have a 100-year plan, and it's important that we keep that updated. I don't see any drastic changes. The citizens of Lubbock have really responded to conservation. It's amazing. We've been very pleased because our usage is down, considering the number of people that we have and the growth that we have had. So I don't anticipate any changes, but, we need to look at water from the Dockham. Maybe we'll use that. Nobody likes to talk about the fact that we may, reuse some of our sewer wastewater.
Well, we're going to have to take a break here, and we'll hold you over and come back and finish this conversation on the other side of this break. This is KFYO Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. It is 7:28 as you are rising and shining and ready to go to work for a Friday. We'll be back after this. News Talk, 95.1 FM and 700 AM, KFYO, 7:35 this morning on KFYO Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. Talking here in the studio live with Mayor Pro Tem Latrelle Joy. And we left off before the break. We were talking about water. And you were commenting about how many people here in Lubbock have responded to conserve water. And I know that's the case at our house. We put in what do they call it? A zero. It's all for desert landscape,
Yes.
cactus,
zero
and
scape.
rocks. Just zero scape. Yeah, there you go. And so we use a very minimal of water. So is that basically what people are doing?
I think some are changing their landscape, but I also think, because we adopted the policy where year-round you water your 2 times a week, and we're not going back and forth to where you can just water anytime you want to. That's a consistent thing. I think that has certainly happened. And then there are a lot of businesses that are coming in now that we were talking about the growth. They're putting in Zeroscape. Yeah. They're doing that. And so I just think everybody is at least thinking about it and appreciating the fact that we do live in a semi-arid area.
Yeah, and there are some very beautiful plants that do grow in the Zeroscape. My house is Zeroscaped as well. So one of the questions we had was the new lease agreement between Moonlight Musical and the City of Lubbock approved?
Yes, it was. It was on the consent agenda, and it was approved.
Yeah, we work with them.
That's a good thing that you did do that. Well, I'll tell you, there would have been some angry folks that you had. And the Moonlight Musicals are a very popular event. Gerald Dolter's done an excellent job with those.
Gerald Dolter has he's gone the extra mile to bring that, and so absolutely, they'll be back.
Very popular thing. A lot of people love to go to. That's about all the questions that that I think we've about covered everything this morning. Why don't you tell us what you see gaze in your crystal ball and tell us what you see as the biggest problems that are facing our city?
I don't think I need a crystal ball for that. I think the biggest issues are going to be keeping up with the growth, infrastructure-wise, downtown redevelopment, and being able to make all of our areas of the city the best they can be.
Yeah.
I, for one, have said, and don't mind saying it, that I think we have neglected some of the areas. I remember downtown Lubbock differently than it is today. I think we let it go down, and not intentionally, but it just happened.
Right.
And then Northeast Lubbock, I think we have not been as attentive to some of their needs and some of their growth as we should be. I would like to see for all of us as a city that we are a city. We are not District 1 through 6. We are one big city, and I think the council we have now, everybody is working for the betterment of the city. Yes, we represent our districts, but we very much want the city to be the best that it can be.
Yeah.
And Texas Tech, let me tell you, they're one of our biggest assets. Our medical community is awesome. You know, we have people who come from all over the state as well as New Mexico for treatment, and so we're very blessed. We've had agriculture, and it's great, but we don't rely on one thing. We pretty much have it all.
We do. Lubbock is a very blessed community. Always has been, I think.
I agree.
And it's hard to overstate the importance of Texas Tech and the medical community here. It's probably the biggest and best medical facility, certainly from here to Dallas, Denver to the north, and I don't know if Albuquerque can even come close to what we have here. So it may be even further west than that. It is an incredible facility, and they can just do almost anything out there. So you're talking about downtown. That's one of my pet peeves. Is that if I had like my number one issue would be to revitalize downtown. It's just a shame to see. It's embarrassing, really, when you go downtown in some of the areas that we just let deteriorate to the extent that they have. But it's going to take an awful lot of money to bring that back, is it not?
It is, but what we want to see is a lot of private sector involvement, which we have. You can't help but look at what Rager Dykes has done.
Yeah,
I was down there yesterday. We had a luncheon, and you couldn't find a place to park.
Yeah,
I can remember when you could have parked anywhere down there because there was nothing going on, and so we want private development. Baseball Hall of Fame is talking about getting its museum going. We've got the Buddy Holly.
So there's things in the works.
Things in the work. We've got the development that's west of the Wells Fargo Bank building that's supposed to come to fruition. There's been a lot of purchasing of property downtown, some of the properties that are closed, and so I anticipate we'll see some activity there. The hotel downtown, Pioneer Hotel, I'm told, is leasing up, got people living pretty much there. And so as you get people downtown, you're also going to see the businesses that support some of the people. So I see it happening. Citizens Tower is going to help because that's been standing there like a ghost for all these years. Yeah.
Latrelle, we really appreciate you coming out and bringing us up to speed on what's happening with the city. That we've been talking to Mayor Pro Tem Latrelle Joy this morning. And on mornings, KFYO Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. It is 7:42, and we're going to take our break and be back after this. Thanks again, Latrelle.
You're welcome.